When most of us picture beekeeping, we think of something pretty peaceful, right? Calm, sunny days, bees buzzing around collecting nectar. But, well, there's a darker side, a kind of bee-on-bee piracy that can absolutely devastate a colony in just a few hours. Yeah, we're talking about hive robbery.
So, imagine you're looking at your hive. One minute, it's business as usual. The next, it's total chaos. It looks like a full-blown invasion. But how can you really be sure? How do you tell the difference between a really busy workday and an all-out war? All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to define what a robbery actually is. Then, we'll get into how to spot the signs so you know what you're looking at. After that, we'll figure out why it even happens. And, most importantly, we'll go through your emergency toolkit for stopping an attack and making sure it doesn't happen again.
Okay, first things first. Let's get on the same page. What do they actually mean when we talk about hive robbing?
It is pure, raw opportunism in the bee world. You've got a big, strong colony that spots a weaker neighbor, and they launch this coordinated attack to steal all their food. We're talking honey, nectar, even the sugar syrup you've been feeding them. It's a brutal takeover, and honestly, the weaker hive often doesn't make it.
So you walk out to your apiary and see a massive cloud of bees around one hive. Is it just a great day for foraging, or is that hive under siege? Knowing the difference is absolutely critical, so let's break down exactly what to look for.
And what's so fascinating here is just how different it looks. Normal bee flight is orderly, it's purposeful. They look like tiny airplanes coming in for a landing. But robbing? That's just pure chaos. You'll see this frantic zigzag flying all over the place. And there's no mistaking the fighting. You'll see bees locked in combat right at the entrance as the guards try to defend their home.
So yeah, you really gotta look for these specific red flags. The biggest giveaway? Fighting, and way more dead bees at the entrance than normal. And listen, the sound is different. It's not a happy buzz, it's a loud, frantic, angry sound. And these robber bees are persistent. They aren't just using the front door, they're probing every single crack and crevice, trying to find a way in.
Now, this kind of behavior doesn't just pop up out of nowhere. Something has to set it off. So what is it that pushes a perfectly normal, productive colony to turn into a band of pirates?
And this really breaks down the main causes. A lot of the time, it just comes down to desperation. When the natural flowers dry up, what beekeepers call a nectar dearth, bees get hungry and they get desperate. Sometimes it's us, the beekeepers, who cause it. Feeding syrup in the middle of the day is like ringing a giant dinner bell for every bee in the neighborhood. And harvesting honey at the wrong time can do it too. You basically create a food shortage, and believe me, they will find a new source, even if it's their next-door neighbor.
Okay, it's happening. You've identified a robbery in progress. The alarm bells are going off. What do you do right this second? This is your emergency action plan.
Before we jump into the methods, let me introduce you to your new best friend, a simple spray bottle with salt water in it. I know, it sounds too simple, but it's an amazing non-lethal deterrent. The robber bees absolutely hate it, it messes up their whole attack, but it doesn't actually hurt them. It is your #1 tool in this fight. So your first move is to turn that hive into a fortress. Immediately shrink the entrance down to a tiny opening, just big enough for 1 or 2 bees to get through. This makes it way easier for the guards to defend. Then, if you can, block it off completely with some wire mesh. They'll still get airflow. And as you're doing this, just start spraying that cloud of robbing bees in the hive itself with your salt water. If you don't have mesh, no worries. A sponge soaked in salt water can work in a pinch.
Now, if the attack is really bad and they just won't quit, you might need to go for a more drastic option. Wait until evening once all the bees have settled down for the night. Then, very carefully, move the entire hive that's being attacked to a totally new spot. And in its old location, leave a little surprise, a dish of salt water. The next morning, the robbers will come back to the same spot, ready to go, but instead of a hive, they'll just find your nasty surprise. This can be a great way to break the whole cycle.
And this quote really just says it all. When robbing is happening, time is absolutely not on your side. You have to move fast. That two-pronged approach, blocking the entrance and spraying with salt water, is your best, most effective, and most immediate response to save that colony.
So, you've handled the crisis. The hive is safe? For now. But how do you make sure this never, ever happens again? Well, it all comes down to being proactive.
The key takeaway here is really that old saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Good, smart beekeeping habits are your absolute best defense. Feed your bees when other colonies aren't out flying, like super late in the evening or really early in the morning. Try to keep your hives pretty balanced in terms of strength and be so tidy. Clean up any little spill of syrup or honey immediately. It's all about being aware of the resources out there and managing them carefully.
And that really brings us to the final question you should be asking yourself. This isn't just about managing one hive. It's about managing an entire little ecosystem. A balanced apiary, where all the colonies are strong and resources are managed well, is almost always a peaceful apiary. So take a look at your setup. Is it in balance?